inside though. Everything under the ceiling, you should subscribe though. Me and the homie no Skrilla, Friday at 5 yo. Talking about how we be feeling, but what's the vibe though? 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 What's the vibe? What's the vibe? What's the vibe? What's the vibe? Welcome to What's the Vibe, though? I'm your boy Jay.
I'm Diamond.
And this is the podcast where we just talk about the vibe. We talk about what's going on, our own vibes, what we have going on, cultural vibes, and societal vibes as well. I'm a musician here, so we both are here at Catawba College. So, boom, we're right here in the broom closet. In the broom closet. And so that's how we met. We met over popcorn and seasonings.
We did! Oh my god, So basically, it was like a little event. It was like a little put together, a little topping bar, if you will. Too. And Octoria, this lady of campus activities events, she was like, let me put it together, let's do this, come through. I was like, okay, I'll come through. And I was just putting stuff together, and I saw him. I was like, okay, he looks cool. We just started talking about topics randomly off the bat. I was like, let me talk to this man. And then we had this long conversation about just black topics. We talked about Martin. We talked about we just talked about all this stuff. And I was just like, I don't even know this man for real, but what?
Should we cuss for monetization? I think they start to demonetize you if you cuss. I'm not sure.
Is
it? I don't know.
It's
what is on my list?
It's on Instagram, so I don't know what their policy is. I know YouTube is
okay.
I don't know.
And I can just bleep it out anyway on yeah.
Well, dang.
This, as y'all can see, this is gonna be interesting. This is our first cast. So tell me some stuff that you're excited about talking about and excited about what maybe this podcast is gonna do.
So without giving it away, I think it'll be exciting to hear your standpoint on things I haven't heard you talk about before. I know your standpoint on some other things like religious studies, because I know you really enjoy speaking about that, especially your own religion, of course, because you're very passionate about that. That's something you could just talk about any time of the day, any time of the night. So, and just things that us as a black culture, as a people, really don't really touch on, and if we do, we get massacred for it. It's things we should talk about openly, but we can't talk about.
So some unpopular opinion vibes
that should be popular. Right?
Yes.
Whatever, stuff like that. So what do you have for me?
Well, I'm really excited that you actually wanted to do the podcast, because people they just don't. They say that they want things, but then they don't go about doing the things that they, not to give it away, because that's a whole nother daggone podcast.
No, but that's valid, because I wanted to get in the podcast because I've always wanted to do it, because I always have little seminars to myself or with my friends. We'll just be talking. I love a yapper. We can vibe, we can talk, and you just waste time. It's a perfect weather for it. It's raining outside. Just yapping about nothing and everything at the same time.
What you doing? It's raining. Let's talk.
And you might as well record it, because sometimes it's good conversation.
Yeah.
So I always wanted to do one. I never wanted to start one because that's a lot of work. But I've always wanted to be on one because they can just do it.
See, y'all? But that's fair, though, because I probably will enjoy doing the editing. So that's cool. So tell the people about you then.
Well, about me, I'm a junior here at Catawba. I'm a bio major and a zoology minor. I want to be a veterinarian after I get out of here. That's very soon.
The brain show.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to do maybe large animal, cows, pigs, horses, livestock. I think I'm going to lean towards that after I get out of here. But who knows? We'll see. I just want more black veterinarians to be out there and show themselves, because we're only 2% of actual veterinarians in the U.S. and the global,
2% of global.
2% milk, bro. 2%.
How of all of the Africans in Africa, and we still only 2% of veterinarians? 2%
at least in America, but I think globally it's a little bit more, but it's really not that much more. When you go to Africa, it's them, but black, not just African, because that's separate. We're the same, but it's still a different continent. We're still separate. I mean,
that's fair.
So at least in America, it's only 2%.
That is crazy, but you about to be up in there.
I'm about to be the 2%, and it's about to be 5 in the next 10 years. Let's be real. No, because I want to get it out.
Because get
the word out. A lot of black people really love animals. We love animals. Like, we're not scared of them. We do love
animals. We were the first to love animals. I'm sorry, I don't want to say that, but when y'all met us, we had all the animals, and then y'all killed them, and then drove them away, and we had all the animals.
Scientifically speaking, you are right, because Africa is the mother continent.
And even here in America, when they came,
we took care of them.
The buffaloes was.
Do you want to know something?
Did you see the pile of buffalo skulls?
Yeah. It's insane. So the thing about, the origin of cowboys?
I thought it was black.
It is black. You have that right. The reason that it's called cowboy is like, hey, boy, come over here and cow.
Right.
So black cowboys were a thing before the Western.
My granddaddy was a black cowboy.
Really?
Go ahead.
They have a black history museum of like cowboys and stuff like that in Texas. The guy that runs it is really cool. If you ever go to Texas, if you want to. If you ever go to Texas, like, stop by. We have black areas in Texas, but Texas itself is like a fucking mess.
Where are you from?
That's a long story. I'm a military brat, and both my parents were in the Navy, so like we moved around a lot. So I was born in Virginia. We moved to Georgia after they split up. Okay. And then I moved to Maryland like 2019, and so yeah. Okay. And I stay with my dad sometimes here, so. East Coast. I'm from the East Coast.
Okay.
That's what I say. Yeah. It's really confusing. People are like, I thought you were from...
When you said Texas, we have, then I was like...
We as a black people.
Oh, okay.
That's what I mean as we. So like Houston, that area where they have good events, they have good things to go to, they have a nice black community for themselves. Especially the military community. Okay. We usually find a lot of black people and like, you can, communicate with them, and it's great. Like, it's a nice little community, especially like on base. My mom lives on base in Maryland.
Oh, okay.
And there's a nice black community for her. Like, they're really cool. Yeah.
Nice. Not the side of Maryland that they try to show us, obviously.
What do they show? What Maryland have you perceived?
Blue light district, and like, just, you can't go there you can't go to certain areas, but that's every town. They make it seem like it's worse when you get up to Maryland going towards DC and all of that kind of stuff.
They do. And
I drove through like the blue light district, and
blue light is in.
So like it's where they have the blue police station lights, all of like where you can just.
Okay.
I've never understood those though. Are the police watching through those cameras that show that that's like a police camera, or is that a place where you can go and contact the police because there's an emergency?
That's a place where you can go in case of like if you need them or not. There's always a person inside the precinct looking outside. Like, if you're near a police station, they can see you passing it. But it's never like, oh, they're gonna get you. Like,
but when you're on the back roads in those like in those hood areas, and they have,
it's just they patrol it more often than not. But it's not heavily patrolling. They'll be there sometimes. Like in my neighborhood in Georgia, we had that kind of same thing where you had certain lights out and you knew, like, my neighborhood was like, when I first moved in, it was predominantly white. Mm-hmm. There was still some, black people there. But the police did patrol in and out of the neighborhood because it was an HOA. Oh. In the worst way, but they still patrolled, and we still felt safe in a way, but at the same time, it's just like, it wasn't heavily like, put like drugs and crack. No. Right. But they just patrolled it heavily because that's what the housewives wanted, so that's what they got.
That's fair. Mm-hmm. They paying the money.
Anyway.
And that's how everybody feels about an HOA. And that is why when I bought my house, I was like,
no, thank you.
No. Oh, no. You're not going to tell me how to cut my grass and when to cut my grass. And I might be stressed out this month. I may be depressed. I may not feel like going out there.
Yeah.
Any of these things might happen. I may be all the way up here at school. I'm not coming home to cut grass and then come back up here 3 hours.
Because what I look like, first of all, especially not even if I'm renting. If I have a mortgage on that house, how the hell you gonna tell me how to decorate my stuff?
That's how I feel.
Oh, sorry. Oh, you gotta blank it out. How are you gonna tell me how to do my thing where I'm at?
Yeah, exactly. What kind of decorations? They don't tell you how to paint your door and all that.
let me give you a little story, a little background, if you will.
Oh, Lord.
It's short. But
No,
you
I'm
remember
ready.
the black lady that ran out of Georgia? What's her name? Stacey Abrams?
Oh, yeah.
Stacey Abrams. My
Okay.
mom worked under her campaign. And
Okay.
we had her signage on our front lawn. They ain't like that.
What?
They ain't like that at all. They endorsed Kemp or whatever.
The
That dude-
housing authority has a certain political party that they endorse?
Are you surprised?
Yes!
Are you surprised?
Are y'all surprised?
Okay, are you
Are
surprised?
y'all surprised?
Let me. Are you surprised that a bunch of white women are mad about a black woman running for president?
I mean, if you say it that way.
But that's what it is. Who else is running it? Their husbands are working. They've got nothing else to do.
Let me just go on and preface this by saying, we are going to say some things that are just from our positionality. We do not mean any racism by these pods.
No, but
You got to say this kind of stuff
Let me
because
say
people be
Karens,
already sensitive. Thank you. Yes, because it do be Karens.
you could be sensitive about a topic and you could feel away, but at the same time, you have to
Please be
understand how
intelligent enough.
America works and how we're not the hierarchy and how it is.
Yeah.
So you either accept that or you can just I'm sorry, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
what it
that
is.
is true.
You know what a Karen is. You know who you are. If you are a white person, you're not doing these bad things. You're not contributing to the hierarchy.
Yes,
cool.
because
It's
I've
not
seen
you.
some Sharons as well.
If it doesn't apply, no, for real. If it doesn't apply, really let it fly, because you know what it is.
Oh, shoot, not.
Like,
Come on.
if it
No,
doesn't
no.
apply-
Dad, what's his name? Now I can't even think of it.
Oh,
If it don't fit, you must have
must have
quit.
quit. Oh, what's it? Yo,
I should know.
I forgot. Johnny Cochran.
Yes. If
Yeah.
it doesn't apply, guys, let it fly. All right, so that's going to be our motto for what's the vibe, though?
It's gonna be a bunch of models, but that's one of them. Because if y'all can't hear it, then I don't know what to tell you.
Then that should have been one, too. If y'all can't hear it, then
I don't know what to tell you.
don't smear it. If y'all can't hear it, don't smear it.
Yeah.
I mean, smear campaign.
Okay.
Right? Boom. All right.
For sure.
All right, so hit me with your first topic, man.
Okay, so actually, which one do I pick? Let's do something a softball, if you will.
Yes.
Soft parenting. What are your opinions on soft parenting?
What in the crap?
I know, because I don't
I'm
know
so
what you're saying.
excited about these topics, yo.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So the format of this, also, what we didn't tell you guys is we're going to be choosing topics that we want to hear the other person's opinions about. So although we know what our topics are, we do not know what the other person is going to ask us. So
At all.
that is funny because I don't want to be the old fuddy-dud, but I'm going to tell you now. Man, this stuff is too soft. It's too freaking soft. Like, I'm okay with you if you are serious about your discipline, you're training your child up in the way that they should go. And if you are not doing any of those things, you out there, letting your kids run the streets and all of that kind of stuff, I'm not okay with that.
No.
But also what I'm not okay with is you pretending that grounding your child, every child should work, and now me tapping this child is not okay when tapping this child works and tapping this child doesn't work. There have been parents that say that all the time, like tappings don't even work for every child. What do you think about it? And what is the definition overall of soft parenting?
So unless you really want to get to like the definitive answer of it, like what is soft parenting? Soft parenting to me is like, it's not a bad thing. It's not like, oh, you can do whatever you want. No, that's not parenting at all. See, that's the problem. It's like the extremes, like you said. So what I think soft parenting is like not necessarily just yelling at your child because they did something wrong, not just coming out of it from a standpoint of like, this is how I was raised, because first of all, that doesn't matter. Right. Every generation is different. Every child is different. You can't just try things and think, since I was raised that way, this is how it's going to work. Like, soft parenting is parenting in a way that fits that child, and it benefits them in the long run when they're actually grown.
Is that what you think it is?
That's what I think it should be.
That's what it should be. Okay.
That's what I think it should be.
But what are they making it, though?
What, a lot of people have different opinions. So, like, some people make it out to be you're not parenting at all, and you're just letting them run amok, and you're, like, I'm not your little friend type. Like, you're,
okay.
Yeah. You've heard that. You've heard that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, that's what I think. Soft parenting should just be like helping the child grow in a way that's not detrimental of like your trust with them. Like, there are boundaries with children eventually, but you can't, not letting them have autonomy is the opposite of soft parenting. Because it's still another being. Like, you can't just control this person forever.
Well, not forever, but there is a certain amount of time that you should control them. I
feel like guiding and leading is like what it is. Control in the sense of like, let's say you just got a bad kid. Like, one of those kids just ripping and running, just being crazy. Like, sometimes you got one, and that's not your fault. That's just how the kid came out. So I feel like in that sense,
that's a whole nother topic.
That's when discipline comes into play. I don't like the word
tapping.
Like, that sounds crazy. Like, being off the street.
Listen,
like,
okay.
Go ahead.
If it don't apply, let it fly. Okay. I am a non-traditional student here, so the words that I might use, I really may use some like non-PC words though.
I'm not saying,
also.
Okay, so
just because I don't know that they've changed.
No, okay. So when I'm saying what I prefer is me. I'm not talking about all the riffraff. Like, I'm not trying. I don't care.
Oh, okay, got it.
I'm not saying I don't care, but
okay.
we're not being PC in here. We're just talking. So
right.
In the way of like, I don't like to use that word. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna my child. Like, you gonna box her? Like, what's going on? So like, I think discipline is the word. Discipline or correction. Like, say you acting up in church, just a little, a little like, hey, like, snap out of it, because what are you doing? Embarrassing me. Because it's the way you parent your child in public is a reflection of yourself.
It is.
That's why you couldn't go to school looking crazy.
It is. That's why your face had to be greasy.
Especially not us, because they'll call CPS in a second.
Yeah.
Talking about the separation of families that don't need to be separated. That happens in a lot of colored communities. Like, Native Americans have the same problem.
Oh, yeah.
Hispanic people have the same problem.
Yep.
Because the white teacher will go in, one of this, or just like, not just a white teacher, but like some teachers will go out of their way to be like, oh, she needs to be separated because that's not a good household. But you haven't even had a talk with the mother, you haven't even had an just a meeting. But
don't you think that soft parenting is kind of contributing to some of that also? Like when you say you don't allow your child to have autonomy, but we see how some of these kids want to go out like, bruh, I'm sorry, wicks are not, they do not look, they don't look kept. Like, most of the time, some dudes I've seen, they have wigs and they look smooth and something about them look great. But like Jay-Z's wigs, like these random, if you don't comb your hair, autonomy, what is the limit then to the child's autonomy?
Well, that depends on the age and depends on the child. But it's a lot of this is circumstantial because these are children, these are people we're talking about. But I will say that the limit just when you talk about wicks in that area, I'd say they need to learn the responsibility of taking care of their hair before they get any type of permanent style like that.
They also need to learn the impact of that particular hairstyle, whether we like it or not. That's when you walk into the world, depending on your hair, still as black people. Did you not just see the girl that it was gonna be one of my topics, but I decided not to. But now we're talking about it. The girl who got sent home or something for the dreads or whatever here recently.
Yeah.
They're still doing it.
It happens all the time. And regardless if they pass the Crown Act or not, do you know what the Crown Act is?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's like changing.
Preventing discrimination.
Right.
But at the same time, can you really do that? Like, even with affirmative action, like, they're still going to discriminate us, so, like, what's
now you know people mad at affirmative action.
That's not... I'm not even gonna... I think that pisses me off a little bit still, so we're gonna just, like... because, yeah. I feel like stuff like that, America wants to do, like, a little quick fix, like, oh, we don't stand for that, so we're gonna try to fix it. With what, though? Why don't you fix the systems you have in place? Because it's working fine for y'all. You don't know that, but let's just pass this bill.
Yeah, it's working fine for y'all.
That shit does not work. I mean, yeah, that stuff does not work when they try to pass little bills.
But you about to be in the 2% though.
That's different. That's different.
I'm just teasing.
But like in my situation, I'm privileged in my own right.
Right. That's
in the way of my financial situation. Well, not mine, but my parents and my family and how they brought up. But at the same time, I think my mother and father very much knew money. Because they grew up in situations where it wasn't like the worst. They weren't in poverty, but they weren't exactly breaking through. I think they were like lower middle class, really.
Right. Okay.
But I mean, they always had family to depend on, so they had that structure, they had that like growth, and I think that at least my grandparents, both sides, wanted to just provide better because they really didn't have much.
Right.
So I think they definitely succeeded in that area.
I think that's another issue. It's not necessarily soft parenting, but it's parenting in general. Is like, even if you don't have much, teaching a mindset is something that transcends beyond what you have and what you don't have. So even though like a lot of our grandparents know they didn't have much, my mom didn't have. One time we went for a period and we ate flitter bread, which was just, like just the flour bread thing made up, like that's what we had. But I don't know, somehow clearly I've never been hungry. Evidently I have never been hungry, y'all. Just real.
I will say, even if you are struggling in your own household, like it's really important to have that community. Like my mom's mom, she never drove. She never got her license.
Mm-hmm.
But all her children were in like extracurricular activities, sports, and Girl Scouts, all this stuff, because she had the church to rely on. They would take her kids, they'd do hair, she'd help them out. See, it's so important, because like I get the success, you want to move to a nicer area, you want to move on up, like cool, that's great. But at the same time, you still need yours. Because you never know what's going to happen. You need someone to rely on.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily just have to be black people, but at the same time, you need someone that you could definitely trust, like, hey, can you watch my kids? Hey, can you... Like, it's just, the community is, like, important.
Yeah.
That comes into raising a child as well. So that full circle, like, you need that. It takes a village for real, because...
I'm about to bring it real full circle.
Oh, God.
I'm about to hit you with your topic. One of your topics.
Okay.
Have you heard Kim Burrell? Have you heard what she did?
I did not hear what she did.
First of all, I will say that from the time that I heard her on the radio, I didn't know who she was, but she was singing and my spirit literally got angry. Like, I was like, I can't hear this. And I literally turned the station. And then I found out later by like hearing the voice again, that was her. Saw her on Sunday's Best a few years back. Somebody was singing. She pretended like she pressing a mute button to tell them to be quiet because their voice is so bad and all of that. She's like the queen of jazzy gospel or whatever. Mm-hmm. So here recently, she was singing a song and somebody in the congregation started singing with her. And she said, don't sing with me right now. This is a solo. The Lord is using me right now. This is a solo. Don't sing with me. Then continue to tell the person how she would let them know when she was ready for them to help her to sing. With that, that's what I'm talking about. So when you say like your grandma never drove, but she had the church, her children were involved, but she had the church. Mm-hmm. But then we turn and now we're in a society where these people are exalted, but that's how they treat their like, why? First of all, how dare you ever tell somebody not to tell me what you think?
I think that is on brand for church communities in the Black area. I think that's very on brand. You could praise the Lord. You could speak through. Yeah, you could do all that, but at the same time, some of them are just rude and just not great people. So for her to be, especially in that limelight, she's already Sunday best, all that. Sometimes they get big heads, people are.
Yeah.
And divas. So honestly, I'm not surprised that she did that. It's very Mariah Carey of her, if you will. But of the gall, how do I feel?
Not of the gall.
Apathy.
Really?
Because at the same time, I don't think we've spoken about, my position on just stuff like this. I was raised Baptist. Stuff like that happened all the time.
That's not okay, though.
No, it's not okay. I'm never saying it is.
Yeah.
It's not okay. It shouldn't have happened. That was very rude of her, because what if that person really was going through something and the Lord genuinely was speaking from them? So, in that aspect, yes, I'm mad for that person, because how do you ruin their worship? You're in a church. You let them speak. How you gonna silence? First of all, the gall that she had is crazy. And to continue to do that, knowing you're in a public space.
And it's 2024, we all recorded.
Everyone's watching. But even if that didn't happen, even if we're not in this age, what gives you the right? But she thought she did. She thought she had it. So I think the Black gospel community, especially like the mainstream, your Kirk Franklins, your Ty Tribbett's, those are my favorites, by the way. If you couldn't tell, I grew up off them. Like, I love them. Just famous people, your Tamala Mans, if you will.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I've never seen them do that. I've never seen Tamala Mann say, back up, watch me. I've never seen that. And I think it's important to, even when you get to that success, that level of Black excellence in that field, you should still be humbled.
Yeah, sit down.
Because you weren't there before.
Be humble.
Sit down, be humble. Like, honestly, like, you need to recognize that you're still a human being. Yeah. This money, this success, after you're gone, like, what?
You can't take it with you. And also, by the time that you have finished turning so many people away from God, like, do you feel like more Black people are looking at this stuff and all of this shenanigans with TD Jakes and all this kind of stuff? And then, have you ever been swallowed? You need to go through a period of swallowing.
When it's overwhelming. That was so funny. Like, I wanted to make a TikTok off that sound, because what?
Why the crap did Noah say that to me the other day?
What?
We was just in class. Picture me just sitting there. Now we in a studio situation. Supposed to be learning. He said, Jazz.
Stop.
Jazz. I said, he said, have you ever been swallowed?
Like, what made him? But did you also hear the allegations after the fact?
They were talking, I don't know, like, about him being at the parties. Why you're not gonna look off to the side?
No, I hope you heard, because I don't want to bring it to you.
About him being at Diddy's and
stuff. But
stuff.
at the same time, it's not unfounded.
I mean, is it really not unfounded? Like, he really was there at the parties?
Yeah. Like, there's actual proof and stuff. It's like, okay.
It's not deep fakes. It's not.
No,
like,
it's nothing.
Really him.
It's no bull
crap. It's not Bobby Brown. Because you remember, they had that picture of Bobby Brown and his neck, the back of his neck or something.
No. I do not know about no Bobby Brown. He's a mess anyway. I mean, he already ruined his reputation. So.
Yeah, after he did that with Whitney. But anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, yeah, no, they got him. They got him in 4K. But at the same time,
in 4K.
But at the same time, it's like, has he ever been teaching rhetoric that's been like, gays can't be in the church? Has he ever been like negative in that? Like, I've never seen him like be hateful, at least in my experience with like watching his things and stuff.
I think he answered really diplomatically a few years ago when they were talking about like gay marriage and all of that kind of stuff. I think he answered diplomatically. I would have to go back and see about it.
Yeah, I'm saying.
But, I mean, do you think that all of these things are contributing to less and less Black people who care about God?
I mean, it's not helping.
Less and less people, period.
Yeah, I mean, but that's with a lot of churches. It's not just us. It's in almost every community. I think every Christian community has a story like that.
Why is it like?
Well, I mean, you break it down to denominations and the church and how they teach things, because sometimes a church won't get funding if they don't teach certain things. And it's crazy because they're not taxed on things, so like they have to make their money somehow, right? Some of these churches will really sell their integrity just to keep the lights on. And I think that's one of the weird things about organized religion, because it's not... It just gets so convoluted and so crazy. Like, with these denominations, like, there's so many, and it's like
It's
more
too
and
many.
more and more. There's so many different types of churches.
It's division. It's division.
It's division in the sense of, like, why though? Why exactly do you need to do this and this and that to be this perfect this? Like,
oh, you know what?
like,
The more, because a divided house falls.
exactly, and that's fair. But I feel like people making divisions that create unity, like Episcopalians, I think they're not the worst. I think that's the right denomination.
But is that like a division to create unity? Isn't that interesting?
It's not okay. So I know that's very like a very weird
Oxymoronic
sentence.
statement. Almost.
It is a weird sentence, but out of all the denominations, I think I have the right denomination when I said Episcopalian.
Episcopals.
What are they?
I know the United Church of Christ, like the church that this school is founded or connected with.
No.
They're very progressive. United Church of Christ, UCC.
Okay.
They're very progressive.
Okay.
Anyway, get into your next topic.
But we can talk about like for hours, and I don't mind it. I enjoy it. Hold on. But I'll finish my thought as in like it's just so confusing because as a person like very new into religion, if they didn't grow up into it, they have no idea what they're getting into or what they're doing or how to look for a church home or what, like it's so confusing, and I think that's what they want as well.
Yeah.
Division, confusion, and mess.
But it's not them though. It's all a construct of the enemy. It's a trick of the enemy because he knows like the whole point is to divide the people of God. So we're getting to a society now where a church is probably going to be one person. Like many people have said, I go to Bedside Baptist now because they have decided that they can't agree with any of the churches and they don't want to give their offerings and the people are greedy and all
you don't want
this.
to put your entire life into something because that's a big commitment, committing to one specific religion, and I think that's one of the hardest things to do, to fully put,
When did that become a big commitment? One religion?
It's
I
bigger.
could say it was like one woman or one man.
Okay, but when you think about an entire belief system, afterlife, everything in that book, and all the teachings, people really put everything to it. Like, let's say your average, like, hardcore Christian in a way that's not negative.
Actually, let me sit up so we can face, yes, because I realize that we should be talking to these people. I'm sorry.
Oh, my bad. So, like,
all right.
I'd say that it is a big deal. Any religion that you're committing to and putting your whole life into, and you're going to die with that religion in your soul, and you're teaching that to your kids, that's a huge deal. That's a life thing. So when people don't want to commit to doing that because they see so many crappy things, then yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you can worship in your own right. You do not have to go to the body of the church. You could really worship in your own home and be in your own spirituality. I'm not saying, like, to be a good Christian, you don't have to be like, I go every time I tithe. Okay, but some of the people that tithe and are on it all the time are really terrible people. So it does not make
gangsters and thugs tithe. God is not a liar. So.
Exactly.
Yeah, his word still works for you, even if you're a thug.
Exactly. And I think there's multi-facets of Christianity that is a little bit more complicated than just putting faith into it holistically. And that's with a lot of religions. I feel like I have my qualms with every religion. But once again, that's a long topic, and we will. Unless you want to sit in it, we can.
No, I'm just wondering if they were gonna keep playing so loud.
No, for real. It's okay. It's a little background, little.
The positivity
You don't want the
of it.
background.
Okay. No, I don't mind. My mind always goes to, I know that people can hear. So they're doing it on purpose. My mind is always like that, but it's because, and other people would be like, you're a paranoid schizophrenic. But
I'm never gonna diagnose someone that hard unless I'm 100%, well, 80% sure they have that disease or condition. Jesus, ooh, never call it a disease. My bad, y'all.
Is it? Really? Has that changed also?
No,
but it is in the.
I'm not speaking of a PC place, but it's not a disease. I think, like, say being on the spectrum, like autistic or bipolar or what have you, I'm not going to say it is a condition. When it's the mind, it is a condition. You just process things differently. Everyone's a little bit different. I'm not going to say there's something, well, I try to stay away from that, like crazy or something's wrong with you in a bad sense. But when you can't realize the social aspect of how you're affecting people negatively, right, or, in that sense, there is something different about your
that's a condition.
your cognitive. Okay. So I'd say it's a condition. Like, that's the technicality of it. If you ask, like, an average psychologist, they'll say the same thing.
Right.
All right. So, we already talked about the topic.
We did?
We did.
What was it?
Yeah, I cut it off right there, y'all, right there, the good part. And that's how it's going to be, too, until you join the Patreon. You get access to those bonus videos. You get to hear some more hot topics, some things that we don't really want to broadcast on a public forum. You get to hear what me and Dymond are saying behind those 1990s voiceovers. And it's just a good time. It's a good time. So you guys join, like, and subscribe. We love you, and have a great rest of your day. You should like and subscribe, though. Find out what's the vibe, though. Like and subscribe, though. Find out what's the like and subscribe, though. Find out what's the vibe, though. Like and subscribe, though. Find out what's the vibe, though. Like and subscribe. What's the vibe, though. Like and subscribe.